Man, great day to get started. It's just awesome to be in this environment in front of our fans, man, and officially working on football here in 2024. Starts aren't always ideal, but that's like life, man. Russ woke up today, man, his calf was tight. It was my decision to sit him down today, create a little short-term discomfort for him, not allowing a small problem to become a bigger problem. He can be characterized as day-to-day. But on the flip side of that, it was an awesome opportunity for Justin and a challenge for our offensive unit to deal with a little adversity at the outset. You know, we all like to start with great fluidity and clean, but, man, football isn't always like that. And so really I looked at it as a good thing for a collective, a challenge for the offensive unit, a challenge and an opportunity to get to know Russ a little bit, man, create a little short-term misery for him, opportunities for others. And so that's the story there.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to Saint Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Welcome back to Steelers Training Camp 2024, and welcome to our first edition of Training Camp Wrap-Up presented by the UPMC Health Plan. I'm Mike Prisuta, joined this afternoon by Craig Wolfley. We will be the afternoon crew for Steelers practices throughout training camp this season, and Wolf, not an uneventful day to start things off. Usually there's a lot of enthusiasm and anticipation, but a big curveball with the tight hamstring or tight calf for Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin's decision to give the keys to Justin Fields.
This is one of the things that you love about Mike, taking advantage of any opportunity to throw some curveballs at his team. Think about Friday Night Lights. What did he do the first year? Friday Night Lights, next morning. He had a practice in the morning. I mean, it was one of those things where you like, okay, let's pile on a little adversity. How do these guys respond? The great Chuck Noll used to do it in preseason. Having a situation where maybe you should have punted or you shouldn't try and onside. He'd do things just to find out where you were as a team and what could you withstand. So these are things that naturally are occurring, and with Mike's a little bit of a tweaking, create a little adversity and see how people respond.
Yeah, it was interesting to see Justin Fields running the show and Russell Wilson in support, standing behind with his play sheet and communicating with Fields, and we saw a little bit of everything. One pass in particular got my attention during 7-on-7, Wolf. Justin Fields' line of scrimmage was about the -25, and he threw a deep ball down the left sideline to Van Jefferson, who caught it at about the +26 and waltzed into the end zone. There was another really nice back shoulder throw from Fields to George Pickens, which Pickens did not catch. And then an in-route Fields to Pickens. Pickens was open. Fields one-hopped it. So all across the spectrum, you saw the good and the bad today, which you usually see on day one.
There's no question about it. This is a long process. It takes a little while to work this thing out. Guys are going to get into their camp rhythm. The most important thing early on, get into a rhythm. Get into that feeling where you're flowing and rolling with the camp rhythm life. And that's something that's important, because once you build that comfort level, things just start to flow better and you start to feel better about yourself and how things are working. So it's important to get in that camp rhythm. You want to do it early, but then when you get something, a situation that can throw you off a little bit, how do you respond? Well, I think Justin Fields went about it in a pretty good way.
Yeah, I think he's comported himself very well since arriving with the Steelers. I'd watched him play in Chicago, never had a chance to talk to him, but he comes off usually pretty impressive, pretty centered, pretty smart guy, and sounded today like a guy who was comfortable in his situation, even though his situation changed in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I found out right when I woke up this morning. Last night, just looking over the plays, but this morning, our quarterback coach just texted me and said, be ready to take some reps that he wants today. But this morning, but it's good, to face, some short-term memories, some adversity, and some stuff that's, not expected, because we're going to face things in games that aren't expected. So, it's about how we react to those situations and how we adjust. So,
you expecting him to practice tomorrow?
How early were you?
I think it was at like 6 o'clock. So I woke up around 6:30. But so I think 6 o'clock.
So change your approach at all, Justin?
Did I change my approach?
Did you come out and show off a little? Or?
Not really, I just tried to, do my job for my teammates, but I'm not really changing anything. I try to come out here the same guy every day, just try to be consistent.
You know, Wolf, I liked his response there at the end when he talked about just trying to be consistent. I would think that there would maybe be a tendency in that situation to rub your hands together and say, okay, time to put on a little bit of a show, time to let people know what I'm bringing to the table, and maybe force it a little bit. But that may help you in the short term, but it doesn't get where you want to be eventually, does it?
No, it really doesn't. What's so important to stay within your lane and be able to do the things that you are being counted on to accomplish. And I think it's just, again, getting to that groove, getting to that rhythm. You know, you see it when he one hops a ball in there. Okay, so you're going to have that. These are what first day yips are all about. But at the same time, when you hook up with a guy like Van the Man, he goes in, walks in for a touchdown, those are what he's capable of doing. So you see, you know, the good and the bad. Well, that's just what it is on day one. It's going to be on day two, very similar. It's just that process of working through it.
Now, there you saw Russell Wilson with the ball cap on there at the end of the little video package talking with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. Another offensive development, if you will. The offensive line was pretty much what we saw the last time we saw the offensive line back in minicamp, but couple of 1 or 2 reps on the left side for Broderick Jones, that according to Jones. And I had an interesting chat with him after practice today, Wolf. You know, I think there's anticipation in some corners that Jones will eventually be the left tackle and Troy Fautanu, the number 1 pick, will eventually be the right tackle. Maybe that happens sooner, maybe it happens later, but Broderick Jones said he thinks he can play on either side, doesn't care which side, and he said even on a day like today where he gets 1 or 2 reps on the left side, he is of the opinion that prepares him because, you know, tomorrow he might get a couple more, and then tomorrow, and then next week, and then next month. It all adds up pretty quick.
It does indeed, and you're exactly right, Mike. I only got to take you back to the late, great Tunch Ilkin, who as a rookie would come in and get 3 reps at left tackle, 3 at left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, sit out for 3, then start the rotation again. And he did that for the first 3 or 4 years until he took over for Boss Brown. Larry Brown retired. And what happened then? Well, you know, you got the big kahuna, my offensive line coach, Ron Blackledge, came to Tunch and said, what can I do to make you better? He said, leave me in one spot. There's a point where versatility is the big thing for young guys because you get a feel of the overall flow, which was directly, I was opposite. I played guard and only guard for the first 8 or 9 years and only left guard, you know, for the first 8 or 9 years of my career. And then it became learning later on. But I think what enabled Tunch to excel was his ability to go from position to position to position, having gained all those reps, and then being able to go, okay, leave me at right tackle, and became a 2-time Pro Bowl and all-time 75 anniversary Steeler guy.
It is interesting, though, that Broderick Jones has kind of picked up where he left off. He is so composed when you talk to him. You don't. Last year, I never felt as if I was talking to a rookie. And same thing this year. He gives off a veteran vibe and a veteran perspective. I believe him when he says he doesn't care where he plays. And I think he's got enough confidence that wherever they put him, he thinks he's going to get the job done.
There's no question about it. And then when you talk to him, he, of course, comes with his pedigree, where he comes from and school and so forth. But, you know, I felt that immediately with him. He is such an excellent athlete. You could easily see him playing left tackle, right tackle. I could even see him playing guard. The fact of the matter is he excels at almost any position on that offensive line. But, yeah, he's going to be at a point in time where you say, leave me left, leave me right. He will excel. When and if that time comes, they'll let him know.
Another interesting development today, at least it's interesting to me, because if you caught our Training Camp Live morning show today, you heard me screaming about more tight ends, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, more tight ends. They threw to the tight ends a lot today, didn't they?
They did, and I loved it. And
they had them out there in groups a lot of the time.
Yeah, they did. You got the 12 personnel, whatever personnel, however you want to count them, Mikey. Right?
Glad you went there, because if you saw the show this morning, Max Starks corrected me. He said 2 tight end personnel is supposed to be referred to as 21 personnel. I had always learned it goes running back, tight end, and then you don't care about
12 personnel is 1 running back, 2 tight ends.
13 personnel is 1 running back, 3 tight ends. So Starks had it all backwards.
Well, you know what? What do you expect from a University of Florida product? Okay,
exactly.
I'm just saying. As a guy who's flunked math twice myself, I have issues anyhow. So.
but the point, and we're not really throwing Max under the bus. Different coaches do it different ways.
Coaches do it. Now, here's the problem with numerics, okay? I left here after 10 years, went to Minnesota. All plays were structured so that odd was to the right, even to the left. I go to Minnesota. They're one of 2 teams, and then there were only 30 teams in the NFL. One of 2 teams where odd was to the left, even to the right. You want to talk about being all screwed up. Wow.
How many times did you hit the other pulling guard?
We don't need to go there, Mike.
But no, the multi-tight end thing is it's going to be a theme of this camp. I was really emphasizing how much I would enjoy seeing that approach this morning, and I think they've got the people to do it. Pat Freiermuth thinks they have the people.
Oh, I know
to
they do
it. And boy, they seem to be at the top of the play sheet today. The tight end stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe it was just tight end day. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's National Tight End Day, and opening training camp. But I know if you go with 13 personnel and you have Freiermuth, you got Washington, you got Connor Hayward. Well, what if you come out there and so they come on with some big jumbos? Then you move Pat out to the slot. You take Connor. He comes in motion, lines up at fullback, and you got suddenly a totally different-looking animal there. So I love the possibilities that are there. You can also stack one side, go jumbo, and get leverage, try to cram down, then knock down on a pin and pull play to one side. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of options available when you go with multiple tight end sets.
Yeah, and I think, you ought to be able to run the ball with multiple tight ends.
You better be.
And if you've got some guys that can move, if you have multiple tight ends out there, you're probably going to have bigger people out there on the defense, and you're going to get some matchups you should exploit, correct?
There's no question about it, and that's what I love about the possibility of getting more targets to Freiermuth. There's not a safety in the league he can't beat on the inside numbers. Hash to hash, sometimes numbers and numbers. I think he excels so much there because he has vision like what a slot receiver has when he lines up there. He reads coverages so well. I've talked to him a lot, spent a lot of time picking his brain. The young man is well-versed, very smart, very athletic, and I really look at him to be able to excel in pass catching this year, man. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be night and day from what we saw from him last year. I mean, some of it was circumstantial, some of it was health. Some of it was he just didn't have as good a year as he had the previous 2. But I think his plane's ready to take off.
I believe so. I think he is the man, the myth, the Muth. There you go.
Another guy who's going to be worth keeping an eye on out here at Saint Vincent College is one of the newcomers to the defense, cornerback Donte Jackson, taking his first steps here in Latrobe. And our Rob King caught up with Donte after practice today.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Donte, first of all, your first real practice after OTAs. Yeah. What did it feel like out there?
Oh, it felt great. It felt great, man. These fans are awesome. Just coming out the locker room and just seeing all the support, man, all the faces of everybody just here, just excited, man, for practice, man. It gets you excited, man. It must have been, 10,000 plus or something out here, man. This was amazing, man. The atmosphere was great. The energy was high. All the guys were having fun and just enjoying each other's space, just enjoying this, this opportunity that we have, and it was amazing.
Let me take you back a half step. How did you find out you were traded? Did you have any inkling that you were going to be traded?
Yeah, I had sort of an inkling after the season. My former team was going through the fourth, fifth change in head coach that I had seen. So both sides kind of felt like, it was going to be, a lot of turnover and stuff. So I was already prepared for anything to happen, But, getting the call after the season, a couple weeks into after the Super Bowl, they call you, tell you, you may be traded. We get good capital for you or whatever. So that's what happened, and about a month later after I got that call, a month later it happened. And couldn't be excited more than, where I was going. Because I was originally going to come here in free agency in 2022. But the other team won a bidding war or whatever like that. So get the chance to, really do it like it was match made in heaven, man. I'm excited to be here.
What, other than stability and Mike Tomlin, attracted you to this situation back then and makes you happy to be here now?
Man, culture, standard. Kind of like when I went to LSU, that tradition had been going on for so long before I got there, and it was just the thing to just hop in that water and start swimming, with sharks. It's kind of the same atmosphere here, no matter what, this organization has been an organization, no matter who you're a fan of, football-wise, growing up, everybody watched the Steelers growing up. Everybody had favorite players or players they like to see on the Steelers growing up. But my favorite personally was James Harrison, and Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark. I like to see those guys fly around my whole life. So just coming here and just knowing that I'd be part of something so special, to come here and just, write my name in history. You do it here, you can do it anywhere, for real.
What are the adjustments like? Is it more the scheme? Is it more the guys you're going to be playing with, the personnel? Is it a little bit of both?
It's personnel, for sure. Personnel, man. This roster is stacked up and down. I'm just coming in, like I said, blessed to have this opportunity to share the field with so many great players and getting in where I fit in. I never had a problem being a dog. I never had a problem playing football at a tough, high level. And this is just a great place for me to go out here and flourish and continue my career. This is a place I can see myself playing for a long time. And if the Lord say the same, that will happen. So I'm just happy to be here, excited to keep this thing going.
Saw you with a nice pass breakup today. What do you think of this receiver crew you're going against?
Oh, great, man. Competitive. We competing, man. These guys like to get after it. They like to ask, like, what did you see there? How you feel there? And we the same way on the defensive side. So just coming in as a collective, it's offense, it's defense, it's wide receivers, it's corners. But at the end of the day, we're a collective, and we all want to see each other grow. And that's just been the vibes, coming from OTAs, coming to here. Everybody just want to see each other grow and excited to see. I made a play on GP, and he turned around like, man, that was a great play. You know what I'm saying? So same with him. He got me on a release and got a slant, and I'm like, hey, bro, that was, so just constantly just growing together, man. And that's going to be the key that gets us through tough games in December and January, the amount of growing together we did here,
Just talking to you, I can see why Action Jackson might be a good nickname for you.
No doubt, man. Always bringing it, man. I don't know how to do it no other way.
And a good piece of action in the offseason, you got married. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. And shout out to my wife, Miss Davidisha Jackson. She going to watch this, so shout out to you, babe. I love you.
Donte, thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mike, back to you.
And there you get a look at a familiar face, actually a couple of familiar faces. Minkah Fitzpatrick on the right, and Wolf, the great Troy Polamalu on the left.
How about it? You got the flying Hawaiian human crash test dummy. That is Troy Polamalu. Minkah Fitzpatrick, what a great acquisition he has been. All I can say is, man, it'd be nice to see Brian Clark and then Donnie Shell also there. And, man, you got like Mount Rushmore of safeties here.
That you do. One other note from practice today. Of course, the Steelers are without Cam Sutton for the first 8 games of the regular season, so they got to figure out slot corner at least until then. Beanie Bishop, the undrafted rookie out of West Virginia, getting some work there today with the 3 cornerbacks nickel and Deshaun Elliott in the 3 safety nickel, the big nickel. Those guys starting at the top of the pile that the Steelers have to sort out at that position.
Number one job as they proceed to go through, just beyond the field things, is the ability to communicate with each other, because that is one of the big jobs that you got to have. You as a slot guy got to be able to communicate with the inside linebackers and everybody else. So there's a lot of communicating going on, and we'll see how it evolves as we move along.
That's going to do it for us today. Good job coming out of the gate here. Let's do it again tomorrow.
I'd like to do that if you don't mind.
Okay, well, Wolf and I will be back tomorrow at 3. And also don't forget that tomorrow, 10:30 to 11:30, I'll be in the same chair. Max Starks will be to my left for another edition of Training Camp Live. Also, don't forget all of these quality programs are available on all of the Steelers' social media platforms. That's it from Saint Vincent today. Thanks for finding us. This has been the Training Camp Wrap-Up presented by the UPMC Health Plan. Good afternoon, everyone.